preview for spring 2021, where we'll be highlighting just some of our wonderful books coming out next year. We can't do everything, so for a full list of our upcoming titles, you can visit our website at hmhbooks.com or find us on Edelweiss. So you'll be hearing today from me, Amanda Acevedo. I'm the marketing manager for School and Library here at HMH, and Taylor McBroom, our marketing specialist for School and Library. So I'm going to pass it over to Taylor to start with some picture books as soon as I start her slides.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining us today. We are going to start with Your Mama by Nonika Ramos, illustrated by Jacqueline Alcantara. Your Mama is a sweet twist on the age-old Yo Mama joke, celebrating fierce moms everywhere with playful lyricism and gorgeous illustrations. It's perfect for Mother's Day. Yo Mama is so sweet, she could be a bakery. She dresses so fine, she could have a clothing line. And even when you mess up, she's so forgiving, she lets you keep on living. Heartwarming and richly imagined, Your Mama twists an old joke into a point of pride that honors the love, hard work, and dedication of mamas everywhere.
Tag Team and Training Day by Raul III. Little Lobo introduced readers to his wrestling hero El Toro in Vamos, Let's Go to the Market. And now El Toro is off on his own adventures in this early reader series. In Training Day, El Toro's first task is getting out of bed. Usually that's not so hard, but today El Toro is feeling uninspired. But his coach, Kooky Dookie, knows that practice is worth it. Readers will cheer as El Toro's spirits are lifted with help from his community, and he trains hard to win his next big wrestling match against the Wall. In Tag Team, the wrestling stadium is a mess. There's so much work to be done, and El Toro feels overwhelmed. Enter La Oink Oink. With the collaborative spirit they have in the ring, El Toro and La Oink Oink tackle the cleaning up. Together, an insurmountable mountain of chores becomes a series of fun tasks for these two friends. Sports fans, comic book fans, and everyone else will fall in love with El Toro, La Oink Oink, and their adventures in these fun early readers with their unique and detailed illustrations and easy Spanish and English vocabulary words.
Time for School, Little Blue Truck by Alice Shirtle, illustrated by Jill McElmurray. Ride along to school with the #1 New York Times bestselling Little Blue Truck and meet Blue's new friend, a bright yellow school bus. This is a perfect pick for little ones attending their first year of preschool or kindergarten. Little Blue Truck and his good friend Toad are excited to meet a bright yellow school bus on the way to school. They see all the little animals lined up on the school bus's many windows, and Blue wishes he could be a school bus too. What a fun job, but much too big for a little pickup like Blue. Or is it? When somebody misses the bus, it's up to Blue to get his friend to school on time. Beep, beep, vroom.
Best Day Ever by Marilyn Singer, illustrated by Leah Nixon. A playful puppy thinks she's having the best day ever. She's so happy to be out with her friend. She doesn't even realize that she's being a little naughty. But then he scolds her, and suddenly, worst day ever. Will Puppy be able to make amends and turn their day back around? Join an exuberant, boundary-pushing pup and her exasperated boy in this reassuring story about unconditional love and the challenges of trying to always be on your best behavior from an award-winning author.
How to Wear Asari by Darshana Kiani, illustrated by Joanne Lou Vriesoff. Sparkling with voice and charm, this picture book about a fashionable kid out to prove she's not as small as everyone thinks is perfect for kids eager to grow up and for those who love to play dress up. Being a little kid isn't always fun and games. Sometimes it's downright annoying. When a little girl tires of being treated like she's too little, she sets out to prove to her family that she can do anything she puts her mind to, including putting on a colorful, twinkly, silky sari. Sure, they're long and unwieldy, but that only means her family will be even more impressed when she puts it on all by herself. Naturally, there are some hiccups along the way, but she discovers that she's not the only one in her family who has set out with something to prove, with hilariously chaotic results. That's what photo albums are for.
Little Bat in Night School by Brian Lees. Little Bat can't wait for his first night of school. He's excited about everything, his new school supplies, learning amazing things, and making new friends. But when he finally arrives, his world turns upside down when some of the other kids aren't so nice. But a new friend turns his night back right side up as they explore and learn together. Any little bat who's ever tried something new or gone somewhere they've never been before knows that first times can be scary. With the help of Little Bat and his adorable classmates, readers will see that spreading your wings is easy when you listen, act with kindness, and take a chance on new friends. With his signature gorgeous artwork, New York Times bestseller and Caldecott Honor winner Brian Lees brings his expressive bats back for the youngest readers.
Oh Look, a Cake by J.C. McKee. A subversively hilarious picture book about a sloth, a lemur, a giant cake, and what happens when you don't share, for fans of John Klassen and Mo Willems. When Sloth and Lemur come across a giant mouth-watering cake, they can't believe their luck. Sloth wonders if they should tell the others, but Lemur is pretty sure they shouldn't. As Sloth lists each friend one by one, Lemur is ready with excuse after excuse as to why it's better to keep the cake to themselves. In the end, that's just what they do, but then the true owner of the cake comes along. With impeccable comedic timing, ample visual humor, and a subversively hilarious ending, this highly entertaining story, complete with a memorable reminder about the importance of sharing, will have readers young and old giggling at every page turn.
Dear Tree Frog by Joyce Sidman, illustrated by Diana Sudaika. When a shy girl moves to a strange new home, she discovers a tree frog perched in a secret spot nearby and learns that sometimes all it takes to connect with the people in the world around us is a little patience, a curious mind, and a willingness to see the world through a different perspective than your own. With beautiful illustrations and magical perceptive poems from Newbery Honor-winning author Joyce Sidman, the lives of one tree frog and the girl who discovers it converge, bringing solace, courage, and joy in finding a kindred spirit.
Shark Book by Steve Jenkins and Robert Page. Sharp teeth, super senses, and those infamous fins. What's not to love about sharks? Caldecott honor-winning team Steve Jenkins and Robin Page explore one of the world's most notorious and fearsome animals. Learn what makes a shark, what sharks like to eat, and how these predators of the deep have evolved. Ever wonder which shark is the smallest, or the fastest, even the most deadly? You'll find your answers in the Shark Book, along with countless others.
Mr. Walker Steps Out by Lisa Graft, illustrated by Christopher Jacques. Mr. Walker, the human-shaped figure who lives in the traffic signal box, works hard. Every day, he stands in the window of his boxy little house on the corner of Broadway and Main, letting people know when it's safe to cross the street. Usually that's enough, but after a while, watching the world go by without him makes him feel small and unimportant. So he decides to jump down from his box and experience for himself all the wonderful things he's seen from his post. But after enjoying all the wonderful things the city has to offer, he starts to wonder how his little corner is getting on without him. Then something happens, something big. And Mr. Walker wonders if it might not be time to go home where he's needed the most. This is a sweet and satisfyingly unique tale about finding one's place in the world. Next, we have middle grade.
Wow in the World, The How and Wow of the Human Body by Mindy Thomas and Guy Raz. Why in the world do I have a belly button? And what in the world does it do? When in the world will my nose stop growing? And how in the world does my pee keep flowing? The human body is a fascinating piece of machinery. It's full of mystery and wonder and wow. And it turns out every single human on the planet has one. Join Mindy Thomas and Guy Raz, hosts of the mega popular Wow in the World podcast, as they take you on a fact-filled adventure from your toes and your tongues to your brain and your lungs. Featuring hilarious illustrations and filled with facts, jokes, photos, quizzes, and wow 2 experiments, The how and wow of the human body has everything you need to better understand your own walking, talking, barfing, breathing, pooping body of wow.
One Thing You'd Save by Linda Stu Park, illustrated by Robert Sehang. If your house were on fire, but all your family and pets were safe, what is the one thing you would save? Newbery medalist Linda Stu Park explores different answers to this provocative question in linked poems that capture the diverse voices of a middle school class. Some students know the answer right away. Some come to their decisions more slowly, and some change their mind when they hear their classmates' response. A lively dialogue ignites as the students discover unexpected facets of one another and themselves. With her ear for authentic dialogue and knowledge of tweens' priorities and emotions, Linda Stu Park brings the very voices of an inclusive classroom to life through carefully honed, engaging, and instantly accessible verse.
Winterbourne Home for Mayhem and Mystery by Allie Carter. Join April and her ragtag group of friends as they unravel family secrets, creepy legends, and mysterious identities in this sequel to Allie Carter's blockbuster middle grade debut. April thought she'd saved the day. When Gabriel declared guardian of the orphans at Winterbourne House, everything should have been perfect. But with Izzy and Smithers away and social services snooping around, things are not quite right at Winterbourne House. Gabriel isn't exactly the father figure the kids were hoping for, and when it seems like the long-lost heir might be lost, maybe purposefully, yet again, the kids realize there might be others lurking in the shadows ready to take his place. April will have to decide how hard she's willing to fight to hold on to the found family she's finally formed when everyone seems determined to keep them apart.
Sydney and Taylor Take a Flying Leap by Jacqueline Davies, illustrated by Deborah Hawking. In this laugh out loud early chapter book with charming full color illustrations, best-selling author Jacqueline Davies continues the adventures of two best friends who chase their dreams, even through doubt and obstacles. When Taylor decides he wants to be the world's first flying hedgehog, there is little his best friend Sydney the skunk can do to stop him. Will Taylor realize his dream? Will he forgive Sydney for not believing in him? And can Sydney keep his spiny friend in one piece? This hilarious story highlights the importance of friendship and the need to reach for the sky.
World in Between by Keenan Trebencevic and Susan Shapiro. Co-written by a New York Times bestselling author, this moving account of a Muslim boy's refugee journey from war-torn Bosnia to the US celebrates tolerance and kindness while delivering a riveting read. Fifth grader Keenan loves drawing and playing soccer with his friends. He wants to be a famous athlete, hates it when his classmates call him Bugs Bunny, and looks up to his big brother, who hasn't had much time for him lately. Sometimes his family drives him crazy, but he loves them. His worries are small until war arrives on his doorstep. Soon, Keenan's family find themselves trapped in their home with dwindling supplies. 10 months later, with help from friends and strangers, they finally make it out of the country alive, but that's only the beginning of their journey. Perfect for fans of Escape from Aleppo and The Night Diary, World in Between is an action-packed page-turner with heart. A story about a kid doing his best during difficult times that celebrates the power of community and human resilience.
Even and Odd by Sarah Beth Durst. Even and Odd are sisters who share magic. Lately, though, it seems like that's been the only thing they have in common. Odd doesn't like magic and even practices it every chance she gets, dreaming of the day she'll be ready to be a hero. When the hidden border between the normal world the sisters live in and the magical land they were born in shuts abruptly, the girls are trapped. With the help of a unicorn named Jeremy, they discover a wizard is diverting magic from the border to bolster her own power. Families are cut off from each other, and an ecological disaster is brewing, but the wizard doesn't care. Someone has to do something to stop her, and even realizes she can no longer wait until she's ready. She needs to be a hero now. Sarah Beth brings her characteristic, crisp, fresh, and fun fantasy voice to this standalone story. In fact, all her books are standalone, so great for readers not yet ready for a long series.
Here is a collection of middle grade titles set in the present day about kids dealing with real world problems. Rescue at Lake Wild by Terry Lynn Johnson. In this funny and moving animals in peril adventure, a 12-year-old girl and her two best friends determine to rescue two orphaned beaver kits and soon find themselves trying to solve a local environmental crisis. In Eric versus Everything by Christina S., 9-year-old Eric Sheepflatner's life motto is avoid stuff, despite his family's attempts to bring out his inner Viking. Can a warrior really become a warrior? In the silly, heartfelt, outrageously quirky novel, Why Not Be Both? An Occasionally Happy Family by Cliff Burke is a funny and moving debut about a boy who goes on a disastrous family vacation. Sweltering heat, bear chases, that ends with a terrible surprise, his dad's new girlfriend. When it becomes clear that this is an auditioning to be his stepmom girlfriend, Theo must find a way to face his grief and talk to his dad before his family is forever changed.
Our new graphic novel imprint, ETCH, launched this fall, and we are continuing on with a great spring list. Sherlock Bones is the greatest detective in his home of the Natural History Museum. When he hears a swamp monster has been seen in the museum's newest exhibit, he is determined to investigate, even if it might not be safe for a small bird skeleton to go monster hunting. In Need for Speed Caper, this full-color graphic novel is based on the Netflix series starring Gina Rodriguez and introduces kids to geography, culture, and history. Take in all the action, adventure, and excitement of India with Carmen Sandiego, the world's greatest thief. And Before They Were Artists is a celebration of creativity. This graphic novel biography is sprinkled throughout with writing wisdom and inspiring quotes, bringing to life the childhood experiences of beloved artists and illustrators such as Wanda Ga, Maurice Sendak, and Jerry Pinkney. Paranorthern by Stephanie Cook, illustrated by Marie Costa. It's fall break in the supernatural town of North Haven, and young witch Abby's plans, including pitching in at her mom's coffee shop, practicing her potion making, and playing board games with her friends. But when Abby finds her younger sister being picked on, she lets out a burst of magic so strong, it opens a portal to a realm of chaos bunnies. And while these bunnies may look cute, they are about to bring about the apocalypse, unless she figures out a way to reverse the powerful magic she released. In this bewitching graphic novel, sometimes the most powerful of magic comes from our connection to family and friends, but kicking bunny butt is good too. And Clash by Kayla Miller, the New York Times bestselling author of Click, Camp, and Act, returns with the next chapter of Olive's story. From the moment new kid Natasha steps foot in class, it's clear she's one of the coolest kids in 6th grade. Olive tries her best to befriend Nat, but it seems like the only thing they have in common is they both want to hang out with Olive's friends. Watching as Natasha gets closer with some of her best buds, Olive can't help but worry that they're starting to like Nat more than her. As with the other books in Olive's story, Kayla Miller delivers a nuanced look at navigating middle school friendships and the importance of both empathy and respect. Our last section is young adult.
It Doesn't Have to Be Awkward by Dr. Drew and Paulina Pinsky. When it comes to sex, relationships, and consent, establishing boundaries and figuring out who you are and what you want is never simple, especially as a teenager. What's the line between a friendship and a romantic partner? How can you learn to trust your body signals? And what if you're not quite sure what your sexuality is? In this book, renowned celebrity MD Dr. Drew and his daughter Paulina Pinsky take on those awkward and incredibly important questions teens today are asking themselves and parents wish they had a better grasp on. Filled with tangible and accessible resources and featuring humorous and raw personal anecdotes, this is the perfect guide for teens, parents, and educators to go beyond the talk and dive into honest and meaningful conversations about sex, relationships, and consent.
Dustborne by Erin Bowman. Delta of Dead River has always been told to hide her back, where a map is branded on her skin, to a rumored paradise called the Verdant. In their wasteland home plagued by dust squalls, geomagnetic storms, and solar flares, many would kill for it, even if no one can read it. So when raiders sent by a ruthless dictator determined to consolidate his power, attack her village, and capture her family, Delta knows he is searching for her and her secrets. Delta sets out to rescue her family, but quickly learns that no one can be trusted. Maybe not even her newly rediscovered best friend, Asher, who's been missing for nearly a decade. If Delta can trust Asher, she might be able to decode the map and trade evidence of the verdict for her family. But what Delta doesn't count on is what awaits at the verdict, a long forgotten secret that will shake the foundation of everything they believe about their own history. Hard choices now await Delta, her family, or the future of her world. This post-apocalyptic Western mashup will keep you on the edge of your seat all the way through to its epic conclusion. It is a standalone, though I, for one, hope Aaron returns to this fascinating world.
Things That Grow by Meredith Goldstein. When Lori's Dorther parking-loving grandmother dies, Lori's world is turned upside down. Grandma Cheryl was everything to Lori, and not just because Cheryl raised Lori when Lori's mom got a job out of town. Now Lori's mom is insisting on moving her away from her beloved Boston right before senior year. Desperate to stay for as long as possible, Lori insists on honoring her grandmother's last request before she moves, to scatter Cheryl's ashes near things that grow. Along with her Uncle Seth and Chris, her best friend and love of her life crush, Corey sets off on a round trip to visit her grandmother's favorite garden. Dodging forest bathers, scandalized volunteers, and angry homeowners, they come to terms with the shape of life after Grandma Cheryl. Saying goodbye isn't easy, but Lori might just find a way to move forward surrounded by the people she loves.
16 Scandals by Sophie Jordan. The youngest of 4 daughters, Primrose, is used to getting lost in the shuffle. But when her restrictive parents decide to delay her debut into English society, Prim hatches a plan to go rogue on the night of her 16th birthday. Donning a mask, Prim escapes to the infamous Vauxhall Gardens for one wild night with her best friend. But when her cover is nearly blown and she's separated from her friend, a mysterious and handsome stranger intercedes, and Prim finds an unexpected partner in mischief and romance. But when it's revealed her new ally isn't who he says he is, will her one night of fun maybe last past on if her parents don't kill her first? In this frothy Regency romp, perfect for fans of Austen-esque flirtation and Shakespearean hijinks from a New York Times bestselling author, sometimes a little scandal can be a good thing.
Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. 17-year-old Kiva Meriden has spent the last 10 years fighting for survival in the notorious death prison Zalendov, working as the prison healer. When the rebel queen is captured, Kiva is charged with keeping the terminally ill woman alive long enough for her to undergo the trial by ordeal, a series of elemental challenges against the torments of air, fire, water, and earth, assigned to only the most dangerous of criminals. Then a coded message from Kiva's family arrives, containing a single order: "Don't let her die, we are coming." Aware that the trials will kill the sickly queen, Kiva risks her own life to volunteer in her place. If she succeeds, both she and the queen will be granted their freedom, but no one has ever survived. With an incurable plague sweeping Zalendov, a mysterious new inmate fighting for Kiva's heart, and a prison rebellion brewing, Kiva can't escape the terrible feeling that her trials have only just begun.
In the Shadow of the Fallen Towers by Don Brown. From the Sybert Honor and Yalsa Award-winning creator behind The Unwanted and Drowned City comes a graphic novel chronicling the immediate aftermath and rippling effects of one of the most impactful days in modern history, September 11, 2001. The consequences of the terrorist attack on the World Trade Center, both personal and political, were vast and continue to reverberate today. Don Brown brings his journalistic eye and attention to moving individual stories to help teens contextualize what they already know about the day, as well as broaden their understanding of the chain of events that occurred in the attack's wake. Profound, troubling, and deeply moving, In the Shadow of the Fallen Towers bears witness to our history and the way it shapes our future.
Ive Been Wild by Crystal Smith. Get ready to be swept away, seduced, and swindled in the wickedly vicious third and final installment in the Bloodleaf series that Laura Sebastian called enchanting, visceral, and twisty. Welcome to Ive Been Wild. Come and find me. Aurelia's last words haunted Zan. Left with the task of finding and reviving Princess Aurelia, Zan sets off on his own adventure to find her and return the gift she sacrificed for him, her life. But not all is what it seems, and Ive Been Wild is more dangerous than anyone can predict.
Seventh Raven. Best-selling author David Elliott examines the timeless themes of balance, transformation, and restoration in this evocative tale about a girl who will stop at nothing to reverse a curse. When Robin and his brothers are turned into ravens through the unwork of that curse, a sister is their only hope to becoming human again. Though she's never met her brothers, April will stop at nothing to restore their humanity. But what about Robin, who has always felt a greater affinity to the air than the earthbound lives of his family? David Elliott's latest novel in verse explores the unintended consequences of our actions, no matter our intentions, and is filled with powerful, timeless messages teased from a grim fairy tale.
All These Warriors by Amy Tintera. All These Monsters was one of my favorite books of 2020, and All These Warriors is the satisfying conclusion to the duology. When the world was crumbling, 17-year-old Clara fought back. She escaped her abusive home and joined Team 7, a monster-fighting squad of runaways and misfits formed to combat the Scrabs terrorizing the planet. And after nearly dying in Paris, Clara and Team 7 discover the sinister truth behind the Scrab invasion. Scrabs aren't just mindless monsters set on destruction. They're being trained and weaponized by MDG, a private security firm hired by the government. Now Clara and the rest of Team 7 have made it their mission to expose MDG. But no one said fighting for the truth would be easy, and as Clara and Team 7 find themselves at the center of a global conspiracy, they must face their biggest threat yet, their own demons. And last but not least, we wanted to let you know that HMH is proud to publish the audio edition of the New York Times bestselling This Book is Anti-Racist by activist and anti-racist educator Tiffany Jewell.
And that's it for us. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please feel free to ask us any questions. You can see our emails on the slide there. And be sure to follow us on social media to learn about even more great books. Thank you.